I'm making this video because there are so many women that battle with like vaginal infections on a daily basis, yeast infection, UTI, bacterial vaginosis, itching down there, smelly odor coming from there, reddish brownish discharge and all of that. So if you know that you've experienced any of these, or you notice that you keep treating infections and they keep coming back, in this video I'm going to be telling you like the general rule of thumbs, like the things that you should be avoiding, the things that you should do, the things that you shouldn't do, so that you can prevent having these infections. As ladies, our reproductive system is really complex compared to the men's reproductive system. We tend to be more prone to infections compared to men. So these 6 tips I'm going to be giving you in this video are rules that you should live by that are going to help you to prevent infections. The first one, and this one is super important. If you've not been doing this before, make sure immediately after sex you are going to pee. Immediately after. I don't want to know if you're going 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. Make sure immediately after every sexual activity you're going to the restroom to pee. You wash with water, and then you pat it dry with a paper towel. This is very important so that you can flush out any bacteria, any toxin that might have been introduced into your cookie during the process. If you're the type that doesn't do this, make sure you start to do this. Make sure after sex you're not just lying down on the bed tired or just like sleeping off or something. Make it a habit. I promise you, you're going to be treating infections less and less. The next one is for you to, this is another thing that actually tends to cause infection, is like people don't know how to wipe properly. The proper way to wipe when you use the restroom, when you use the toilet, is for you to wipe from the front to the back. You're wiping from the front to the back. Whether you're using water, please make sure you always use water. Don't just use the restroom and then use toilet paper. Like that alone is enough to cause a whole lot of infections. So make sure you're using water and you're patting dry with a paper towel, or you're using wipes that are not scented. Yeah, so when you do that, you're wiping from the front to the back, because if you're wiping from the back to the front, you're introducing bacteria and other things from your anal region into your vagina, and you don't want that, because that is what causes infection. The next thing that is going to help you to prevent infection is to avoid wearing tight clothing. Like, the cookie has to breathe. Like, let it breathe. When it's not breathing, it can become irritated, it can become damp, and then microorganisms are being invited into that place. And you know, when that happens, the next thing is for you to start having odor and all of the things. Especially if you stay in a very hot environment. Like, make sure you're not wearing jeans that are like too tight. Like, trust me, tight jeans can lead to odor, not just infections, but then you're having like odor, because when you sweat, everything is just stuck there. And another thing that helps too is when you're wearing like cotton underwear. Those ones tend to help the cookie to breathe, and then it helps you to absorb whatever moisture might be there also. So avoid tight clothing, tight underwear, avoid it as much as possible if you don't want to be having these infections. Please, as much as possible, avoid douching also. Avoid douching. Like, you don't need to douche. The vagina cleanses itself. If you have an infection and they tell you that okay, douching is what you need to make the odor to go away or whatever, trust me, that douching might just mask the odor, but whatever is going on there, whatever infection might be causing that odor, is still going to be there. So avoid douching, because it just makes matter worse. Avoid putting artificial objects into, there was a period that there was this craze of like yoni pills and putting yoni pills into the vagina to help with infection and all that. I'm pretty sure like that did more harm than good, because those things they offset the pH balance of the vagina. They just irritate your vagina, and then the vagina is not able to like fight bad bacteria as much as, like, they just help to something like douching now will just remove the good bacteria in your vagina, because you need good bacteria for your vagina to actually for the pH to be balanced, to prevent odors and all that. So when you're douching, you're removing the good bacteria, and then the vagina becomes prone to odors. It becomes prone to infections. You're having things like bacterial vaginosis, where you're having like a fishy smell down there, and trust me, you do not want that. So avoid douching, avoid yoni pills. Also avoid using scented products down there, like all those strong feminine washes that have like strong odors. Even if the smell is like pleasant, you do not want to put it inside your vagina, because that would just make matters worse. Like, for a moment everything can be smelling fresh, but it can make you prone to infections, and That's what we do not want. Another thing that you can do to avoid infections is that when you're on your period, please try to change your, maybe you're using sanitary pad, tampons or whatever. Even if the advertisement says that you can wear it for the entire 24 hours, one pad can last you for 12 hours, please do not abide by that. As a lady, you need to always keep that place fresh. So as many times as you can, change as many times as you can during the day. Have your bath as many times during the day. The next day to change as many times as possible. Have your bath as many times as possible, because like during your period, like your hygiene has to be top notch just to prevent this kind of things, prevent infections and all that. Another thing that makes people prone to infections is when you're like wearing wet underwear. You might not necessarily like wake up in the morning and just go and put on wet underwear, but during the day when you sweat, or maybe you're the type that tends to exercise and you go to the gym and you sweat and sweat and sweat, the sweat tends to be trapped in your underwear, especially when you're not the type that is wearing like cotton underwear. You're wearing silk and then the sweat is just trapped there. It can actually cause infections like yeast infection. So immediately after you leave the gym, immediately after when you get home, change out of your undies into a fresh one so that you're fresh down there. At the same time, if you're the type that tends to go to the pool, make sure you don't spend too much time in the pool or inside your swimsuit, because it's already wet, and when that place is wet, it can lead to infection like yeast infection. Even if you're the type that likes like a lot, you like having like bubble baths and all that, like instead of a shower you use a bath instead, that can also make you prone to yeast infection, especially if you're staying there for too long. So just minimize the time with which you stay in the bath, because things like that introduce bacteria, it could reduce fungi into your vagina and cause things like candida, which is yeast infection. So if you found all my tips helpful, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so that you get more videos like this when I drop them. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Have a great week. Bye.